the game about this woman because then he went into the action. 8 a.m. He was talking about
So you slide it over to the right.
Okay.
Who are you? Where are you? What are you doing?
Yeah, that's live.
No, but the kids, they all think that they're Bali Saba when they grow up.
Not supposed to be Baba Saba.
Exactly. He said, I'm going to be Baba Moshe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it really okay?
Doesn't have to be.
Well, you just said it 3 times.
You're in the wrong course.
Mechazik.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you want water, sir?
I got it, thank you.
Oh, you got it. There.
Unbelievable. You saw that? It's already preordained.
I'm just trying to be helpful.
Shahakol is the bracha of the Bali Bitachon. Why? What are the words?
Everything.
Shahakol. Everything. Even though I'm drinking just a tea, Shahakol. Everything.
And we say it with the scotch.
What?
When you have scotch.
You have scotch also, sure. There you're melting. You're melting more. It happens to be coming to Purim. That's the inyan of one of the inyam of the drinking. Is that when you drink, you slowly lose your inhibitions, you lose your chachmas, you lose your complexities, and you start to melt slowly into the Ein Sof. If you have Ein Sof in your life, if you have a Kodesh Baruch Hu to melt into, if you don't, you just melt into Narishkeit, which is what you see a lot of times. So if you have Yesodus of Emunah, that's the tachlis of the drinking.
After the second drink, you know that your taste buds cannot tell whether it's Glenlivet or Chaim Yankov.
If you're honest.
If you're honest.
You could save a lot of money.
Right.
First glass, a good shot, and then everything else is.
You don't know what it is.
Yeah, we could save a lot of money this way. We're a Jewish cup. Okay, so we are progressing here, slowly but surely. I hope through Chavos Avavos, working on HaBitachon, Chachmas HaBitachon. Before I forget, I would like to show everybody a certain sefer, show and tell. Sefer called L'Chatchila. It's on Emunah and Bitachon. Everybody see? Very nice. It's called L'Chatchila. Let me explain, Rabbi Yannick. I'll explain to you what it is. He's already he's like, more homework.
Take a picture.
More homework. I'll show you afterwards.
Who's sponsoring for this?
So, I don't know. Let's find out. Who's sponsoring today? This is why it's here. Rafua for Bryndel Leah Bas Yehudot Aryella. And this is from, Eli Nishmas, thank you. Csiel ben Lazar, gratitude to the Zilberman family. Eli Nishmas Yisrael ben Chaim Shlomo, that is Moshe Harry's father. Cederbaum's half father. And Eli Nishmas Ita Bas ניסן הכהן, I think this is tomorrow. But, okay. Lila Nishmas also. Ita Bas ניסן הכהן. Shkayach, this is great. Okay.
So back to your sefer.
Back to the sefer. So just very quickly, so this sefer, he has a lot of different svarim, but he put on an Emunah Bitachon, and it's called L'Chatchila. I don't know who writes it. I don't know. But it's a bekitzer. It's short. It's line by line, like shots of Emunah Bitachon. From what I've seen so far, it's going to the Mahat. It's going...
Who wrote it?
I don't know.
And who's the source? In other words,
he quotes all this. He quotes his Chavos Avavos. He quotes different sources on the bottom. I even think I saw this sefer on Rebbe Stender at some point. So I think we could hold of it and you could ask him. But I'm looking at him. I've read through a little bit of it. It's not. You can't build your Emunah Bitachon based on this. You can build your Emunah Bitachon based on the Shaar Chavos Avavos, slowly but surely. But as a chazar, as like a shot, one or two, you don't need that much. I'm telling you.
What's the name of it?
I'll show you afterwards. L'Chatchila. I'll show you afterwards.
Can we get it?
It's Shem. We'll talk. We'll figure it out. I don't know. But I'll show you. I just wanted to point that out. If people want a little bit of a review, you should go through the Chavos Avos yourself. It's very important. But if you also just want a good injection of Emunah Bitachon, and again, what I've seen here is that it's according to the Mahalach that we're trying to build. It's not just like those, the Maisim, or it's real strong Bitachon. Anyway, I don't want to forget. I'll show that afterwards. It might be shaykh for you, might not be. Okay. We are now moving on. We're still in the third paragraph. We're moving on to a very serious topic, where the Chovos HaLevavos actually starts to discuss in a real way the union of Parnasa, an actual job. 98? Okay, 98 is. It's about choosing an occupation. Now, before we get there, which is, it's going to be, of course, a very important part of the sugi that we're learning, which is ultimately the sugi of Hishtadlus. We do need to go back a little bit. We have to know where we're holding. Right? This is a sefer that is built step by step, very logically. We learn this once a week. We don't even know 3 weeks ago where we were holding, but it is extremely important to hold cup in the cheshbon and the progression of the Chovos HaLevavos. We have to. So for a minute, we have to go back, catch up to see where we're holding. I'm sure everybody will remember basically the steps until now, and then from there we can progress. So we're in the third parak here, and in the third parak, the Chovos HaLevavos is teaching us 5 conditions for a person to become a Baal B'Tachon. If you want to consider yourself a person who's a Baal B'Tachon, who actually is living a life where he's trusting the Kodesh Baruch Hu, you need to have these 5 conditions. The first of the 5 conditions was really 7 branches. Those were where we were learning about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The one and only, the most powerful. He knows us better than we know ourselves. He's been with us since the time we're born. Those 7 that we worked on a lot. That's the first condition. Who is HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What is he capable of? Which, of course, leads us to, of course I should trust in him. Right? He's the only one who has all 7 qualities. So it's only logical and normal. Of course, we would trust the Kodesh Baruch Hu. That was the first of the 5 conditions. The second condition was that for a person to have bitachon, it has to be real. No lip service. Right? A person can't just say, I have bitachon. It has to be in the heart. That's what we're getting towards, the heart. Talk is cheap. It has to really be in the heart. You have to be in control to some degree, or at least believe. You have to know that the emes is, we need to hit the heart. It's not an intellectual pursuit. We need to learn. We need to be educated, which is an intellectual pursuit. You have to, right? You have to be educated in what it is. But at the end of the day, it needs to get into the heart. And be honest. This is what no lip service means. Be honest. It's okay if you're not holding there. But I could say with 100% certainty, I'm trying. I want to be a Baal B'Tachon. I'm trying to be Baal B'Tachon. Those are the lashonos a person should use. Because then he's not acting as a Baal Gaiva, and he's not acting as a too much of a humble person. Right? We could lose our abilities because no, I'm not. Who am I? I'm nothing. I'm trying to be. That's a very powerful term. That was the second condition. It has to be real. Third condition. Don't think in any realm that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has a partner. Even though we learned that to have all 7 qualities, only HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right? All 7 qualities, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is all-powerful, that he knows us better than we know ourselves, that we can even trust in him if we haven't been such good boys. All of that, only HaKadosh Baruch Hu has all 7. But maybe, let's say a person goes to a doctor, or he's in the business world. Maybe in this area, I'm not saying that this doctor has all 7 qualities, of course not, chas v'shalom. I'm not saying that this business guru has all 7 qualities, but whatever, maybe here I can rely a little bit on this person in this area. He's not God, chas v'shalom. But maybe a person would think that he can start to be somech on a doctor, he could start to be somech, to rely on the business guru, on the psychiatrist, whatever it may be. The answer is no. And that's not true. You can never rely on them. You can never trust in them. You can only trust in the Kodesh Baruch Hu, and they're the messengers. So you're not trusting in them. You might follow their advice, but that's because, according to the world of Hishtadlus, we're not there yet exactly, but this seems to be the messenger of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and therefore, this is the message that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants me to get, and I can follow his advice, a surgery, chas v'shalom, or this stock pick, whatever it may be. I rely only on a Kodesh Baruch Hu. There is no partner, not even a percent. Nothing. There's no part owners. Nothing. 100% on Kodesh Baruch Hu, but he has lots of messengers on different levels. Has to be very clear. Very, very clear. Because we get tricked in that. That really gets into the sugya, and we're not going to talk about it now, but that gets into the avodah zarah called Baal. There's a avodah zarah called Baal, which that Klal Yisrael dealt with a lot in Nevi'im, and that they held that there was a Kodesh Baruch Hu, but HaKadosh Baruch Hu also gave an ability to other things or people to also have a say. That's an avodah zarah. It's a very tricky one, and people are involved in that today. Not going to die chas v'shalom for it, but it's a very tricky. No, there are no partners. I rely only on a Kodesh Baruch Hu. I could still listen to someone's advice, but my heart is totally relying on a Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's just that it's coming through this person, right? It's just training our minds how the system is flowing. It's not new, complicated things. Yes? Okay, no, I'm looking at faces sometimes. I want to know. Okay. That was the third intro. Because if you think there's even a 1% partner that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has, then you can't fully trust in HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You'll always in the back of your mind, maybe. No. With Bitachon, it's 100%. The fourth intro was, we had to spend a lot of time with this, is that a person has to try to be a good boy. Follow Torah mitzvahs. We have a whole Torah, a lot of mitzvahs, a lot of svarim to learn, and one needs to try to follow the king's commands. If you're a person who doesn't follow the king's commands, and you're a person who doesn't really care, it's not that if I don't do mitzvahs, Hashem's not going to give me what I want, what I need, and therefore I can't trust in Him. Not true. A person could be on the 49th level of Tumah and still turn to a Kodesh Baruch Hu, I really, I trust in you. I want you to help me out. He is allowed, and he should, 100% trust in a Kodesh Baruch Hu. And a Kodesh Baruch Hu may fulfill his request. What is the problem that we explained? That if a person doesn't follow HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mitzvahs, what's the problem? The problem is that if HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the king, is giving me commands to do, laws, and I'm not following them, and I don't care about them, or I don't care enough about them, it is going to be, lamaisa, logically, very difficult to also trust in him. It's a human inyan. How could I bring myself to trust fully in the same king that I'm not listening to in other areas? The king still does for me. The emes is the king still does for me, even though if I don't deserve. That's the emes. But how could a person honestly, truly trust? Could it be? It could be. There's our exceptions to the rule. But 99% of the time, if a person is not fulfilling Hashem's word, or he's not trying to, he's not going to be able to fully trust in the Kodesh Baruch. That was the fourth intro. Again, just have to try to just want to follow his command. Even if we make mistakes, it's okay. That's okay. We still can trust in him.
You say that last part again?
Should I just say the fourth intro again?
Yeah.
The fourth intro, saying it straight. I know sometimes I'm sorry if I make it circular. The fourth intro straight is we need to be a person of full bitachon, or to try to be a person of full bitachon. He needs to be trying to fulfill Hashem's Torah mitzvahs. That's the fourth intro.
Because otherwise you don't trust him.
Because if a person is not trying to fulfill his mitzvahs, it will be very difficult for he himself, to also trust in the same king that he's spitting in his face.
The shame and the guilt.
That's part of it. It's not shaykh. It's just too hard.
You're not part of the program. That's just,
What?
you're not plugged into the program.
So how could you plug into the other?
Yeah, this is like, and that's the only byproduct of being actual Shemitah mitzvahs. Once I'm shubing myself, I'm shaving myself to you, and everything. So
I can still trust.
I can now have complete bitachon. But if I'm not able to do A,
Say it carefully. If I'm not able to do A, then what?
then B is gonna be very hard.
It's gonna be exact, right?
Very hard. It's not gonna be. It's not shayach.
Right. You got to get that clear.
There are people that are not shomit her mitzvahs
Who still trust?
who have bitachon, hakol neshamayim.
Emet. No, it's true because we learned earlier one of the major conditions of bitachon is trusting in a God and a Kodesh Baruch Hu who will still provide for me even if I have not been a good boy. But that's in the past. I haven't been such a good boy, but now I want to turn to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. But not if I'm actively not being good. It's going to be hard to actively also trust. Okay, good. That was a difficult one. I know that we spent a lot of time on that.
So those that are saying bitachon, they don't really mean it.
No. He was saying.
I know they say it, but do they really mean it?
Well, there are those that live with that. There are those that it's in their baby body.
It doesn't matter. That's not for us.
Bitachon.
That's not for us.
That's it. That's what they are. But they didn't learn the Lamaisa.
Right?
They didn't learn the Lamaisa. They don't know necessarily practical halacha. They don't necessarily know.
Right. Even you can imagine such a case. Right.
There are plenty of people like that, but it's still the meat.
It doesn't work.
It's still very much a meat. It's not a.
Right.
It's not a roll.
It won't work for me.
Yeah. Okay. The fifth intro.
This is very important.
Everything or just this?
No, the fifth one.
We ain't even said the fifth one yet.
No, but I know what's coming.
Okay, everybody prepare yourselves. Number 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is it.
Know that we get we don't understand where the goodness comes from. It could be from generations before you.
So the fifth one, you reading your notes?
I'm reading what says in the book. And
the fifth introduction was that the Chovos explained to us. There's 2 ways that anything in this world, that things happen in this world, that things are created. The flow of the world, the progression of the world. Number 1, automatic. A Kodesh Baruch Hu decides something's going to appear, something's going to be created, something's going to be discovered. Automatic, spontaneous, rare, but of course it happens. A nace that comes from right field, something, whatever it may be, Kodesh Baruch Hu decided, that's 100% true. But the more important aspect of the way things in this world come to be is that Kodesh Baruch Hu made everything in a cause and effect chain. Everything in this world, except for those exceptions, cause and effect. Sibos, there are causes, and there are then effects to that. It's a chain link. Right? We brought the mashal where there's a guy who digs the pail into the well. But it wasn't just that the pail went into the well. The pail was connected to a string, which was connected to an animal, which is connected to a person who was whipping the animal to get the animal to move, to pull the string, to pull the pail, to get the water. Don't make a mistake. Every single step in that process, every creation in that process is all decreed by Kodesh Baruch Hu. So even though, this is the trickiest part, this is what we have to live with. Even though it seems to be there's this cause and effect, and there's a pail, and there's a string, and of course we'll never think that the pail is what's bringing the water, but you might think it's the animal. The animal's the one who's pulling the water. But if you really look carefully, it's really the person who's hitting the animal. But who gave the person the idea to make this? Who gave the person the animal? Who gave the person life? Who gives the animal life? All from the degree of a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So he puts on this show, this amazing show that we live through our entire life. Everything in this world, cause and effect, everything that we deal with in business, at home, learning, everything, breathing, the nature, photosynthesis, everything is a process, and yet he's the one who's deciding every single second that this process should have chiyas, it should go the way that he wants it to. There is no exception to this rule. Ever.
That's a munah. That's a
Part
munah.
of bitachon are facets of emunah. The tachlis is to draw it to the heart, right? But people, when they're learning emunah, they don't usually go into such details. Kodesh Baruch Hu runs the world. Shkacha pratis. Ad kan emunah. That's very nice. That's not going to change my heart, my feelings. It's very cold intellectual. Bitachon is where we draw it down into the heart. We need details. I'm not going to throw this out. Okay. I was going to say it's the difference between Chacham and Bina, but it's not for now, really. I said it. Anyway. So everything along the process is a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Okay? So there are processes in life. We have to walk. What do we have to do? We have to stick our fork into the cholent that was in front of us yesterday. It doesn't just go into your mouth. Remember this? Way back when? It was like 3 pages ago, but it was like 3 years ago. The cholent doesn't just fly into your mouth. You need to actually take your arm with all the limbs and all the stuff and all the veins and the arteries and the commands from the brain. Pick your fork up with this cholent in your mouth. But what happens if there's no cholent in front of you, but you're hungry? Well, you need to cook the cholent. So you actually have to put effort in the process of cooking a cholent so the cholent can be in front of you. But to get the cholent, you need the ingredients. So then you have to go to the store to buy the ingredients, to give the ingredients to your wife. Everybody remembers this. To then make the cholent. But the cholent can only be cooked if HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides that when water gets to 212, it could boil. If he didn't decide that, if he doesn't allow that to happen right now, you got no cholent. And if he didn't create something called barley, he's not giving barley chias right now, you can't have a cholent. So everything that goes, we have to do, we're involved, but in the Panemius, it's only HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And then to get the ingredients, well, if you want the effect to take home a bag of ingredients, what's the cause? Money, right? You can't just go to Gourmet Glot and say, well, I learned in the Bitachon class that I have to do Ishtalis and I just going to take the ingredients. You have to pay them. But what happens if you don't have money? So then you have to do weiter, Ishtadlis. You have to be part of the process. And then you have to go out and make the money in order to then go to buy the ingredients, in order to have the cholent, so then you can eat it. So we are involved intimately with the process, but never, says the Chavos that we should forget that every step of the way is a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Every step of the way, whether it's your human intervention, whether it's the stuff that you're dealing with, it's all Kodesh Baruch Hu's decree. How did this piece of barley get into the world? Well, because they had a mama barley from 5,780 whatever years ago that was created. The mama barley, the first barley that was created by Kodesh Baruch Hu. Yesh Me'ayin. Wasn't Yesh Me'yesh, the first barley? Yesh Me'ayin. But ever since then the barleys gave birth to other barleys, to other barleys, to other barleys, to other barleys. So I have it in my bowl. I have a bowl of cholent with barley. That was the process of the barley that's in my cholent right now started 5,783 years ago.
Aged cholent.
That's why it's so good. That's why it's so good. Everything tastes better.
It's aged.
Yeah. Life's a lot better when you have a lot tastier. When you realize it didn't just happen right now. Okay. Okay. So this is where we're holding. We're holding in the sugya called hishtadlus, which everybody defines as human effort. Actually, most people define as going to get a job, right? Hishtadlus. This is the big problem. When we started the sugya of hishtadlus, I said that we have to learn fresh. We have to throw away all of our chachmas, because already hishtadlus doesn't mean parnasa. That's already a misnomer, and we have to then go back. But even before that, really, the word hishtadlus, has anybody even seen the word hishtadlus in this sefer? I know we read the Hebrew very fast and we go to English. But is there the word hishtadlus here? What word does he use? I'm asking you to look inside. Look inside. Which word does he keep using for that which we call hishtadlus?
I don't have a sefer.
Sibos. Sibos. A siba means a cause. We have to do, HaKadosh Baruch Hu created background. A person puts seeds into the ground and it gets watered, so then there are sprouts. Yes? What did we do? We can do the cause, put the seeds into the ground. But whether it's going to rain, whether the rain actually allows this seed to germinate, whether the soil is proper, whether, I like to use the word photosynthesis, is around, I don't even know exactly what that is. I just talk about it a lot. Whether all that stuff's going to happen is only going to happen because there's a Kodesh Baruch Hu. but I have to put my effort in and do the cause that I was given the ability to do, which is throw the seeds into the ground. Now, sometimes I could also water it if that would be the case, but can't always do that either. We do what we have to do according to the world that the Kodesh Baruch created. We don't try to cause anything, or actually, I guess we do. We try to cause that which we feel is the emes, and that's it. Everything else happens if a Kodesh Baruch Hu decides. Yeah? Nothing? Okay. You know, I never know. Remember, you have to tell me, are you agreeing with me or disagreeing with me? That's the new rule. So we do causes. We do causes. Now, the way we translate it, it's human effort. But to never make the mistake that human effort is what is mashlam, is what completes, is what brings to the gemar. It's just a cause. Whether the effect comes out, we have no say in that ever. Ever. I don't think there's an exception to that rule. Is there an exception? Can we ever force an effect? We can make causes. We could force causes. We could put in 30 hours to try to really smash it down. I'll sit there watering all day, and I'll turn the soil over, and I'll even daven. Davening is also part of our human effort. It just doesn't go sometimes. Okay, we're not there yet because we have to get to that. I think it's there, the fourth parak. But we'll get there. But it's still nothing. We affect anything.
Are we taking the position that the cause is also Hashem? Meaning, like, yeah, we can do our own causes, but the cause itself is also, we have bitachon in the cause that's also from Hashem.
Yes, that's already even a higher level than the chavos levavos. Right? The baseline is we do what we think. We do what we think. We throw the seeds in. We think that's us. But chavos levavos is teaching you, okay, that's it. That's all you got. To back up and trust in the Kodesh Baruch Hu. But the emes is, if you dabble a little bit more into Hasidus, which is not creating anything new, it's just revealing more. Even the cause itself, where did that thought come from? Where did that thought come from? Oh, naturally. What do you mean? I need money. I need food. So naturally, who created that nature? Where did that come from? The emes, even the thoughts, even that which I want to make this cause, comes from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. And if a person is willing to go to that place, you're at a very high level of bitachon. Even the causes, even the fact that I'm going to the store to buy the stuff that's so natural, it's so normal, obviously. But if you believe that a Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who's running that situation, you could even be calm going to the store. Mamish. If you really take bitachon.
I've never been to the Gormaglat parking lot.
What'd you say?
It's tough if you've never been to the Gormaglat parking lot.
I only go to Woodmere. I'm not that level of bitachon yet to go to the theater. I'm not there yet. I know my limitations. And on Friday, wow. That's a test. You want to test a bitachon?
No, they set up an insurance agency right there on the thing with the booth.
Yeah, for
a bit of gesture.
Backing up. No, that'd be a great test. You want to know where your bitachon is? Go like, 2 hours before Shabbos, 3 hours before Shabbos. You don't have your ingredients for cholent yet. And try going to that parking lot with full calm. You'll find the spot as you dray around. Anyway. Okay. I think we're holding in the right place. We're caught up? We're caught up. So we have to do our avoda. We have to do our human intervention, our effort, our sibus. That's for everything in the world. We're not at Parnes yet. We're talking about cholent, picking up cholent into your mouth. We're talking about raising children. We're talking about walking outside and breathing. I don't know. Everything. Now, then we got not caught off. Part of the Mahalach was the reasons. Why do we have to do this? Why do we need to put effort in? Why can't a Kodesh Baruch Hu just do it for us? So the reasons why Kodesh Baruch Hu made the world in the way He makes it, to test us and to keep us out of trouble. To test us, our emunah, our bitachon, where we're holding, to test our for shomer Torah mitzvahs, and also we said to keep us out of trouble, because if we would have nothing to do, we'd end up finding something to do. Just pay attention to your kids when they have nothing to do. You find stuff in the toilet, you find crowns in the walls, and maybe in the oven. Then that got us into, if a person doesn't need to be tested anymore, he's worked on himself, in all areas of Shmiras Torah Mitzvahs and Midos and Bitachon, and a person's clearly not going to get into trouble because he has what to do, Chesed, Torah, he helps people, whatever he's going to do in his free time. He doesn't need to really work too hard. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will provide for him without too much effort. HaKadosh Baruch Hu will make life in general, not even Parnes, just things in general in life, will go smoother if he doesn't need to be tested. How could you really define that? How could you really know? To be very careful with that, obviously, not to jump madregas. Why good things happen to bad people then? Why bad things happen to good people? That was like an agav based on the point of Hishtadlus. But now we could finally continue where we were holding with the few minutes we have. Now we're on page 98.
I don't think we're allowed to do Shiur.
Well, then you don't have to feel rushed. Okay, page 98. So now we're going to get into the union of Parnasa. Now, we need more Hakdamas, of course. Everybody in this room right now, and probably many people who are listening, are probably people who are above the age of high school and college. Most people already have jobs, already have professions for many years. Okay? When we're learning this sugya, we right now have to learn it with a cold intellect. We have to remove everything that we've accomplished in our lives and what we think, because we're trying to download, if you like, it's up to you, I'm just giving you an Eitzah Tova, to download what the Chovos Babos is teaching us. If a person will learn this straight, he's like, but I can't do what he's saying. You just lost everything that he's trying to teach you. We cannot get emotional about this. So then what's the tachlis of learning it? A, it's the emes, and B, we also have children. Or we also are, we give advice to people, and we need to know the emes. We need to know the emes. This is a detail. The Chovos HaLevavos is teaching us the large picture of what bitachon is, and that's what we've been dealing with until that was the whole Akdama till now. That's in general how to trust. Then we need to take the bitachon from that world of bitachon. How does it teach us? How does it tell us to act in specific situations? One of the situations, one of the major situations of our life is in Yirmi Parnasa. If we have to do effort, we have to. Money doesn't just grow on the trees, unless you're either a big tzaddik or a big rasha, right? We need to go out and we need to do something. Well, according to Chovos HaLevavos, according to Shaar HaBitachon, what should we do? Right? If we want to be honest, we want to follow the Sefer, what should I do? Should I just go do anything? What's my motivation? Should I look for the job with the most money? Should I look for the job that's the easiest? Well, anyway, Kodesh Baruch Hu could take care of me, so I could just take the easiest job and I got a big bitachon. No. You have to have a shtadlus. We just learned human effort. You have to go to the job that there's a lot of effort, but it pays out well. What do we do? So let's read a few lines here. And of course, it's going to take a few weeks, probably 2 or 3 weeks to build up. So on page 98 on the bottom, choosing an occupation, what do you love doing? Having established the necessity for a person to engage in various means to obtain his livelihood and other needs, you need to put human effort in anything. The author now addresses the type of occupation a person should choose, as well as the proper attitude toward it. V'kevan shezbar chiyuv hagilgul al hasibos al b'nei adam, nevarata ki al ein kol adam chayiv lechazer al kol siba misibos hateref. Since it has been demonstrated above that people are obligated to make efforts to engage in the means to do stuff, we have to be in that process of the cause and effect. Specifically, they're guiding us to obtaining their livelihood and other needs. We need to put effort. We need to make causes in this world. We will now explain that not every person is obligated to pursue every means of obtaining a livelihood. We don't have to go crazy in trying to find every type of job possible. I need 4 jobs, or the best job, or We need to learn how to look for a job based on the reasons before. Now, I'm just going to throw it out there. Did he ever yet say in this sugya that, did he even mention the word money? Did that word ever come up yet? Money. No. It's never come up. That is never, ever a cause. That is not part of the sugya here. Money. How do most people get jobs? Most, not everybody. What can bring me the most money? What can bring me the amount of money that I need for this community? Of course, it has to be something that I, a little bit like doing. It can't be something that's against my nature totally. But the word money becomes the probably, correct me if I'm wrong, in the most often, I'm leaving exceptions, most often it is the highest, I'm not speaking English now, it is the most important criteria, thank you for the English language, it's the most important criteria when a person finds a job, what parents tell their children, what people tell people. Probably. I'm leaving room for exceptions. That's usually what is the most important criteria. He's not going to mention, I think, that concept even once in the entire Sefer. I don't think. If I'm wrong, please tell me no, and we'll work it out. That's huge. That's huge. Because if I'm right, and I think I am, could be I'm wrong, well then we have to change everything that we've ever thought about the sugya. Because if our number one criteria is not even mentioned on the list, well then either we're wrong or he's wrong. If he's wrong, it's kedai not to come back and listen to the shiur anymore. If we're wrong, okay, so let's be open. Any comments about that?
But he does mention wealth and poverty. He uses those things as certain examples for why good people are stricken with poverty or why wicked people have wealth. You may not say money per se.
But yeah, I mean we're not denying the fact that there are people who are rich and people who are poor, and people who are rich are.
No, what I'm saying is that if you're going to toil in order to gain a parnasa, theoretically you're trying to avoid poverty.
Who said we're trying to gain a parnasa? He doesn't say that here. Now that's why I want to be very careful. Tarif means, actually means food. But so we have to be very careful. I know that the way they translate, it's going to get me into a little bit of trouble. That's okay. I'm okay with that. Of course we're going to work to receive money. Right? We're going to work and we're hoping that money comes out. But it's not the reason. Right? What's the reason we're going to work? We learned it already. We're going to work because we have to be tested and we have to stay out of trouble. That's what he said. He's not changing from that. But a Kodesh Baruch Hu made the cause and effect in life to get the money to go to the store to buy the stuff. The way that cause and effect is that you go and usually, not always, get a job that pays money. That's not the reason why I'm going. It's going to get a little technical, but we have to, as clear as possible. Does that make sense? Is that difficult? Not make sense? Right? The reasons he gave us, he never said in the reasons, you need to make a parnasa. He didn't say that. Right? Even though, I didn't prepare how to say this. It's very important how to say it. Maybe I'll prepare next week how to say this, this chiluk. But the point is, so far, the reasons we are going to do hishtadlus, whatever that hishtadlus is to be tested, and so we stay out of trouble. Now, when we're going to that place where we're going to be tested, we have to choose which area of life, of work, we're going to choose to be in that world of test. Now, if a Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who's testing us, who should be making the choice of which area of life we go to? Kodesh Baruch Hu. If he wants to test us, he knows us. That's one of the facets of bitachon. And therefore he wants to, everything is to test us to make us bigger, stronger, to bring out our toch. Remember that? Tochalcha? Right? the ikar of rebuke is not to hurt us, it's rather to bring out our toch, to bring out our strengths. You can only bring out your strengths if you lift weights, if you go into tests. So therefore, who's the one who should guide us to the greatest place where our potential could be revealed in the greatest way? The one who knows us the best, the one who's going to test us, the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Right? Now, we'll continue next week, but how is it then? Can we call him on the phone? Can we call a Kodesh Baruch Hu on the phone and say, Kodesh Baruch Hu, can you tell me which area of all the types of jobs that I have to go put my shtadlis in, where should I go so that you can test me and therefore I can become my greatest self? Is there like a phone number for that? How do we do that? So some say, well, you ask your Rabbi. Okay. I don't think people are really asking their Rabbi, which college to major, which college that's to major in. What do you think? We'll end with this.
So what's the exact question again?
The exact question is, we need to put human effort into a job. That job, the tachlis of that job, the major purpose of that job is so that a Kodesh Baruch Hu can test us and we can stay out of trouble. Parenthetically, it will also bring us a parnas so we can live life and be happy. But that's actually not the happiness. Happiness is that when we just do what we're supposed to do.
So what's your question?
My question is, how do you choose?
It's not easy, but it comes to you over maturation. Every person is predisposed to some area, such you're a teacher. You were predisposed to teaching, and you enjoy it. Now, the problem with that, the negative,
predisposed. Who created that? What is?
Yeah, just a predisposition.
Right, he's right.
is only counteracted by necessities that people sometimes are forced into a certain area because A, it presented itself and it gave them a sense of security rather than go like for the golden ring of being a doctor. Many times a person is very good mathematically and therefore he sees a need and he gets a job in accounting. But because of situations, he gets married, has a child, he can't get a CPA. But he's predisposed to being an accountant.
So we have predisposition.
So there's two things, but supposedly based on the Sefer.
Oh, you already know the answer.
Well, no, but based on based on the Sefer based on the whole thing,
Mahalach,
we're predisposed by Hashem. Hashem, we don't know it, has predisposed us to do something, which again, if we go back to a couple of pages where it says because of something that you were predisposed back 100 years ago. So, if your DNA comes through and your great-grandfather was in the cloth business in Lodge, and it passed down that his son suddenly made it to America and opened a retail store that was cloth, it passes down, it's in the DNA because that's what you hear at home. And it's like it's put into you.
And how did your grandfather, who was in Lodge, how did he start the cloth business?
Because that's what
he was predisposed.
If you would have moved to Berlin, you could have ended up as an intellectual giant. Whereas in Lodge, that same issue is.
Who put him in Lodge?
Listen, where they migrate, that's another story.
The Kodesh Baruch Hu.
Yeah. Okay.
On a high level.
He's not wrong. He's not wrong.
It's according to where you were chased.
By Kodesh Baruch Hu.
Yeah, people. By the way, people didn't realize in Shemo when Hitler was going to different countries, people ran from Berlin. Suddenly they ran to Belgium. They didn't think he's coming to Belgium. Suddenly they saw him Belgium. Suddenly they run to Italy. They didn't know that he's going to teach. In other words, sometimes it's just the.
But he's saying the Bernisham is orchestrated.
Oh, for sure. All right, that gets the basic belief, either yes or no.
It's very important.
Well,
yeah.
At a high level, it doesn't matter what you do.
I don't know if that's true.
No, I'm saying a
person, if Hashem wants you to make money, you could be a teacher, you could be intellectual.
Of course, that's true.
No,
But when a person's going into life and he has to choose, make a bechira,
Okay.
how do you make that choice? Close my eyes and I can just,
That's a matter.
I don't know.
It's a matter of where you
I guess it's
Talk to
possible,
your
but
friend
it's
in
not.
shul to see what the good deals are, and
I'm not so sure if that's the. I don't know if that's the mahalach. I don't know if that's the mahalach.
No, I mean, either you're predisposed and you have the ability because of your family gives you the luxury to follow it through, or as I said, you're in a situation.
Okay, so we're going to continue next week.
By the way,
Hashem leads you
all
to make that
orchestrated.
decision.
Yeah, but they have in college, they have these counselors. I don't know what it's called. These,
guidance.
what?
Guidance counsel.
No, there's a competency, like this questionnaires that help guide you to see where you would fit.
It's a personality test.
Yeah.
It's had a different name. Had a
Your
different name.
core competencies.
Has a name. The test
Yeah, that person also gets fired.
So we'll see. We'll continue with Shem next week, but we're going to see how Kodesh Baruch Hu downloads into our system those thoughts and those feelings of where should I go to then become tested, to be able to trust in the Kodesh Baruch Hu. Let's continue.
Wow. Do you mind?
Yaki.